government doesn't want you to succeed. The media doesn't want you to succeed. Your broke friends don't want you to succeed. They want you to stay small, stay dependent, stay average. They want you to believe that success is luck, that wealth is evil, that dreaming big is unrealistic. They want you to accept mediocrity as normal. They want you to trade your dreams for security. They want you to work 40 years for someone else's dream so you can retire broke on Social Security. But here's what they don't want you to know. You were born to be extraordinary. You were born to be wealthy. You were born to be free. You were born to live life on your terms, not theirs. Let me tell you something about rock bottom. Rock bottom is not the end of your story. Rock bottom is the foundation upon which you can build your comeback. I know this because I've been there. I know this because at age 25, I was broke, confused, and had more excuses than I had dollars in my bank account. You see, there comes a time in everyone's life when you look around and realize that everything you thought you could count on has either disappeared or let you down. Your savings account reads zero. Your relationships are strained. Your confidence is shattered. Your dreams seem like foolish fantasies from a more innocent time. This is the moment when most people give up. This is also the moment when champions are born. I remember standing in my apartment at 25 years old, looking at my bank statement. Negative $47, not zero, negative. The bank was actually paying themselves before I could even get to my money. My neighbor, who was about the same age, was already successful. He drove a nice car, lived in a nice house, and seemed to have his life together. The difference between us wasn't our backgrounds. We came from similar places. The difference wasn't our education. We had comparable schooling. The difference wasn't our opportunities. We lived in the same country, the same economy, under the same government. The difference was philosophy. The difference was how we thought about life, about responsibility, about possibility. He had developed a philosophy that served him. I had developed a philosophy that was destroying me. And here's what I learned that day that changed everything. Being broke is temporary, but being poor is a state of mind. You can be broke and still be rich in spirit, rich in determination, rich in possibility, but you can have money and still be poor in thinking, poor in relationships, poor in character. The question isn't whether you'll face times when you have nothing left. The question is what you'll choose to focus on when that time comes. Today, I want to share with you 5 things to focus on when you have nothing left. These aren't just theories. These are principles I've lived, principles I've taught, principles that have helped millions of people transform their lives from despair to success, from confusion to clarity, from scarcity to abundance. The first thing you must focus on when you have nothing left is what you can control. This sounds simple, but it's the most powerful principle you'll ever learn. Most people, when they're down, spend all their time and energy focusing on what they can't control. They focus on the economy. They focus on their boss. They focus on their past. They focus on other people's opinions. They focus on circumstances that are completely beyond their influence. I used to be the king of this game. When I was struggling, I had a list of excuses longer than my arm. The government was wrong. The economy was bad. My boss didn't appreciate me. My background was holding me back. I didn't have the right connections. I didn't have enough money to start. I didn't have the right education. I could go on for hours about everything that was wrong with my situation. But here's what my wealthy friend taught me. You can spend your time focusing on what's wrong, or you can spend your time focusing on what you can do about it. You cannot control the economy, but you can control your response to the economy. You cannot control your boss, but you can control your work ethic. You cannot control your past, but you can control what you do today. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens in you. You cannot control the circumstances, but you can always control your response to the circumstances. This is where your power lies. This is where your freedom begins. When you focus on what you can control, something magical happens. You stop being a victim and start being a victor. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You reclaim your power from the circumstances and put it back where it belongs, in your hand. What can you always control? Your thoughts, your actions, your words, your associations, your books, your habits, your attitude, your effort, your response. These things are always yours, regardless of what's happening around you. I know a man who lost everything in a business failure. His house, his cars, his reputation, his savings, everything. But instead of focusing on what he lost, he focused on what he still had control over. He controlled his morning routine. He controlled his learning. He controlled his attitude. He controlled his effort. Within 2 years, he had built a business even more successful than the one he had lost. The difference between people who bounce back and people who stay down is not their circumstances. It's their focus. Winners focus on what they can control. Losers focus on what they can't control. It's that simple and that profound. The second thing you must focus on when you have nothing left is your philosophy. Your philosophy is how you think about life. It's your fundamental beliefs about what's possible, what's important, and what's worthwhile. Your philosophy is more important than your circumstances because your philosophy determines how you interpret your circumstances. Here's what I learned the hard way. Poor philosophy leads to poor results. Rich philosophy leads to rich results. It's not the circumstances that need to change first. It's the philosophy. Change your philosophy and your circumstances will eventually follow. When I was 25 and broke, I had a poor philosophy. I believed that success was for other people, not for me. I believed that you had to have money to make money. I believed that the government should take care of people. I believed that my background determined my future. I believed that life was happening to me, not through me. These beliefs were destroying my life. They were keeping me small, keeping me scared, keeping me stuck. But here's the beautiful thing about philosophy. You can change it. You don't have to keep the philosophy you were given. You don't have to keep the philosophy you grew up with. You can choose a new philosophy. The day I met my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, was the day my philosophy began to change. He taught me that I was responsible for my own life. He taught me that success was not about luck or circumstances. He taught me that I could learn what I needed to learn, do what I needed to do, and become who I needed to become. This was revolutionary thinking for me. I had never been taught that I had this kind of power. I had never been taught that I could design my own life. I had never been taught that philosophy was the foundation of success. Your philosophy becomes your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your character becomes your destiny. It all starts with philosophy. If you want to change your life, start by changing your philosophy. If you believe that success is for other people, start believing that success is for you too. If you believe that you don't have what it takes, start believing that you can develop what it takes. If you believe that your past determines your future, start believing that your future is in your hands. The most successful people I know have philosophies that serve them. They believe in possibility. They believe in personal responsibility. They believe in growth. They believe in contribution. They believe in excellence. These beliefs guide their decisions, shape their actions, and determine their results. When you have nothing left, this is the perfect time to examine your philosophy. What do you believe about life? What do you believe about success? What do you believe about yourself? If your beliefs are not serving you, it's time to change them. The third thing you must focus on when you have nothing left is small daily disciplines. Success is not about making one big decision. Success is about making small decisions every day that compound over time. It's about doing the little things consistently that others are not willing to do. When you're at rock bottom, the temptation is to look for the big break, the lottery ticket, the miracle solution. But that's not how success works. Success works through the steady accumulation of small disciplines practiced daily. I learned this principle when I started reading 30 minutes every day. It seemed like such a small thing. What difference could 30 minutes make? But over time, Those 30 minutes transformed my thinking, expanded my vocabulary, increased my knowledge, and changed my life. 30 minutes a day for a year equals 180 hours of reading. That's like taking a month-long university course. Small disciplines repeated daily create compound results. The compound effect is the strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions. It's the principle of the slight edge. It's doing things that are easy to do, but also easy not to do. When I was broke, I started with small disciplines. I read 30 minutes a day. I wrote in a journal for 10 minutes every morning. I took a walk every evening. I listened to educational audio programs in my car. These were small things, but they were building something inside me. The beauty of small disciplines is that they build momentum. Success creates success. Achievement creates achievement. When you do something small consistently, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted with bigger things. You build confidence. You build character. You build competence. Most people fail because they try to change everything at once. They want to revolutionize their entire life overnight, but that's not sustainable. The secret is to start small and build gradually. Pick one small discipline and do it every day for 30 days. Then add another one. Let me give you some examples of small daily disciplines that can change your life. Read for 30 minutes every day. Write in a journal for 10 minutes every morning. Exercise for 20 minutes every day. Call one person every day to encourage them. Save $5 every day. Learn 5 new words every day. These are simple things, but they compound over time. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not dramatic. It's the small things done consistently over time. It's the slight edge. It's the compound effect of daily disciplines. When you have nothing left, you have an opportunity to start fresh with new disciplines. You have an opportunity to build new habits. You have an opportunity to become the person you've always wanted to be. But it starts with small steps taken daily. The fourth thing you must focus on when you have nothing left is serving others. This might sound strange. How can you serve others when you can barely take care of yourself? But this is one of the most powerful principles of success. You get by giving, you receive by serving. You grow. When I was at my lowest point, the last thing I wanted to think about was helping other people. I was too focused on my own problems, my own pain, my own situation. But my mentor taught me something that changed everything. The fastest way to feel better about your own life is to help someone else feel better about theirs. Service takes your focus off your problems and puts it on solutions. Service takes your focus off your limitations and puts it on possibilities. Service connects you with others and reminds you that you're not alone in your struggles. I remember the first time I truly helped someone when I was struggling. I met a young man who was even worse off than I was. He had no job, no place to live, and no hope. Instead of thinking about my own problems, I focused on helping him. I helped him find a job. I helped him find a place to live. I helped him believe in himself again. Something amazing happened. As I helped him, I felt better about myself. As I gave him hope, I found hope. As I encouraged him, I became encouraged. As I served him, I grew stronger. The act of giving had given me more than I had given away. This is the law of reciprocity. What you give out comes back to you multiplied. When you serve others, you serve yourself. When you help others succeed, you create success in your own life. When you add value to others, you become more valuable. You don't have to have a lot to give a lot. You don't have to be rich to be generous. You don't have to be successful to help others succeed. You can always give encouragement. You can always give hope. You can always give your time. You can always give your attention. You can always give your care. Some of the most successful people I know started their journey to success by serving others when they had nothing left. They volunteered at homeless shelters. They mentored young people. They helped their neighbors. They gave what they could give and life gave back to them in ways they never expected. Service also develops your character. It builds empathy. It builds compassion. It builds leadership skills. It builds confidence. It builds relationships. It builds a network. It builds a reputation. All of these things are valuable assets that will serve you throughout your life. When you have nothing left, you have an opportunity to serve from a pure heart. You're not serving to get something, you're serving to give something. This kind of service is the most powerful kind of service. It's service that transforms both the giver and the receiver. The fifth and final thing you must focus on when you have nothing left is who you're becoming, not where you are. Your current circumstances are not your final destination. Your present situation is not your permanent situation. You are not your bank account. You are not your job title. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your current limitations. You are a person in process. You are a person with potential. You are a person who can grow, who can learn, who can change, who can become more than you are today. The question is not where you are. The question is where you're going. The question is not who you've been. The question is who you're becoming. I learned this lesson when I was at my lowest point. I was so focused on my current situation that I couldn't see my future possibilities. I was so focused on my present problems that I couldn't see my potential solutions. I was so focused on who I was that I couldn't see who I could become. But here's what I discovered. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a disaster. Every successful person was once unsuccessful. Every wealthy person was once broke. Every confident person was once insecure. Every leader was once a follower. Everyone who is somebody was once nobody. The difference is not where they started. The difference is who they decided to become. They decided to become students. They decided to become disciplined. They decided to become persistent. They decided to become valuable. They decided to become more than they were. Character is developed through adversity. Strength is developed through struggle. Wisdom is developed through experience. Compassion is developed through suffering. Leadership is developed through challenges. All of these things are being developed in you right now, even if you can't see it. When you have nothing left, you have an opportunity to become everything you were meant to be. You have an opportunity to develop character. You have an opportunity to develop strength. You have an opportunity to develop wisdom. You have an opportunity to develop the qualities that will serve you for the rest of your life. I know a woman who lost her job, her house, and her marriage all in the same year. She felt like her life was over. But instead of focusing on what she had lost, she focused on who she was becoming. She became a student of personal development. She became disciplined in her habits. She became persistent in her goals. She became valuable in her skills. 5 years later, she owned her own business, had a better relationship, and lived in a nicer house than she had ever had before. The adversity didn't destroy her. It developed her. The challenges didn't break her. They made her. The loss didn't defeat her. It defined her. She became a better person because of what she went through, not in spite of it. This is the promise I want to leave you with today. Your current situation is not your final destination. Your present circumstances are not your permanent circumstances. You are not stuck. You are not finished. You are not defeated. You are developing. The seasons of life are constantly changing. Winter doesn't last forever. Spring always comes. The question is not whether your situation will change. The question is whether you'll be ready when it does. Use this time to grow. Use this time to learn. Use this time to develop. Use this time to become. When your season changes, and it will, you'll be ready. You'll be prepared. You'll be equipped. You'll be the person you need to be to handle the success that's coming your way. Remember these 5 things when you have nothing left. Focus on what you can control. Focus on your philosophy. Focus on small daily disciplines. Focus on serving others. Focus on who you're becoming. These 5 things will carry you through any storm. These 5 things will prepare you for any opportunity. These 5 things will transform your life from where you are to where you want to be. The choice is yours. You can focus on what's wrong, or you can focus on what's possible. You can focus on your problems, or you can focus on your potential. You can focus on your past, or you can focus on your future. You can focus on your circumstances, or you can focus on your character. What you focus on expands. What you think about grows. What you concentrate on increases. Choose your focus carefully. Choose your thoughts deliberately. Choose your future intentionally. You have nothing left, but you have everything you need. You have a mind that can think new thoughts. You have a heart that can feel new emotions. You have hands that can take new actions. You have feet that can walk new paths. You have a voice that can speak new words. You have a life that can live new experiences. The best is yet to come. Your greatest days are ahead of you. Your biggest victories are waiting for you. Your most meaningful contributions are still to be made. Your most fulfilling relationships are still to be formed. Your most significant achievements are still to be accomplished. But it all starts with focus. It all starts with what you choose to concentrate on. When you have nothing left, make the right choice. Focus on the right things. Your future depends on it. Your success depends on it. Your happiness depends on it. Your life depends on it. The road back from rock bottom is not easy, but it is possible. The journey from nothing to something is not quick, but it is achievable. The transformation from who you are to who you can become is not automatic, but it is available. You have the power, you have the potential, you have the possibility, you have everything you need to start again, to rise again, to succeed again. But you must focus on the right things. You must focus on these 5 things when you have nothing left. Let me tell you one more story before we finish. There was a man who came to one of my seminars many years ago. He had lost his business, his family had left him, and he was living in his car. He sat in the back row with tears in his eyes, wondering if life was even worth living anymore. After the seminar, he came up to me and said, "Mr. Rohn, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have the strength to start over." I looked at this man, and I saw myself 20 years earlier. I saw the pain, the confusion, the desperation, but I also saw something else. I saw potential. I saw possibility. I saw a human being who was one decision away from changing his entire life. I told him what I'm telling you now. You don't need strength to start over. You need faith. Faith that tomorrow can be better than today. Faith that you can learn what you need to learn. Faith that you can become who you need to become. Faith that your story is not over. That man took my advice. He focused on these 5 things. He started with what he could control. He changed his philosophy. He developed small daily disciplines. He began serving others. He focused on who he was becoming. 2 years later, he sent me a letter. He had rebuilt his business, remarried his wife, and was living in a house twice the size of the one he had lost. But more importantly, he had become a different person. He had become stronger. He had become wiser. He had become more grateful. He had become more compassionate. He had become the man he was always meant to be. The adversity hadn't destroyed him. It had developed him. This is what I want you to understand. When you have nothing left, you're not at the end. You're at the beginning. You're at the beginning of who you can become. You're at the beginning of what you can achieve. You're at the beginning of the life you were meant to live. But beginnings require courage. They require faith. They require action. They require focus. You must focus on the right things or you'll stay where you are. You must focus on what serves you or you'll remain a servant to your circumstances. The world is waiting for who you can become. The world needs your talents, your gifts, your contributions. But first you must believe in yourself. You must believe that you have something valuable to offer. You must believe that you can rise again. I've seen it happen thousands of times. People who had nothing left became everything they dreamed of. People who were broken became whole. People who were poor became wealthy. People who were sad became joyful. People who were weak became strong. People who were nobody became somebody. What made the difference? Focus. They focused on the right things. They focused on what they could control instead of what they couldn't. They focused on their philosophy instead of their circumstances. They focused on daily disciplines instead of daily distractions. They focused on serving others instead of serving themselves. They focused on who they were becoming instead of where they were. Your life is a masterpiece waiting to be painted. But you hold the brush. You choose the colors. You decide what goes on the canvas. Don't let your current circumstances determine your final picture. Don't let your present situation dictate your future success. Every day is a new page in your story. Every morning is a new opportunity to write something beautiful. Every moment is a new chance to focus on what matters most. The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. The future is waiting. When you have nothing left, remember this: you still have the most important thing of all. You still have yourself. You still have your mind, your heart, your spirit, your potential. That's more than enough to start with. That's more than enough to build a life on. That's more than enough to create a future worth living. The time is now. The opportunity is here. The choice is yours. What will you focus on?